Welcome back. We're excited today because we're doing a Q&A, which is something different we've never done before. But the questions were really good that we got actually, and we're excited to answer them, so let's just go right into it.
What age did you accept Jesus and really start to find your faith walk?
So I would say I was 11 going to church camp. They just had this altar call that if you didn't have a relationship with God and you wanted to, and you had never really accepted Him into your heart, that there was an opportunity to do that. And this was at church camp when I was 11. And I knew, there's no doubt about it, I knew that I did not have that. And so I was really excited to just, be able to have someone take me up there and show me in the Bible and just really establish that relationship with Him. And that's when it all started. I'd say that I haven't really been publicly and confidently living out my faith since the past couple of years. Probably when I was 14 is when I really started to recognize all the opportunity around me and starting to embrace that, and really trying to be intentional about just my life. So I'd say 11's when their relationship started. 13 or 14 is when I really started to be more on fire for God.
I think for me, we kind of always grew up in church, but I was never really in it for the right reasons. I was just going with mom and dad to church and sitting there throughout the sermon. But around 17, I think it was, I started to develop a lot of anxiety through school and social events and everything, and it just kept getting worse and worse, and I didn't really want to go anywhere or do anything. And I just remember crying out to the Lord in my bedroom one day, and so yeah, I think I was 17. What's your biggest fear that you've overcome?
Well, I have a lot of fears, obviously. I feel like everybody does, that I'm still battling with. So one that I would say for the most part I am free from is my fear of other people's opinions of me, and just being afraid of what other people would think of me. It's only been here recently that I've been more living it out publicly, because for so long I was just so paralyzed by fear, and just especially being in a public school, I was just very hesitant to do that because I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to bring attention to myself, and I was very afraid of being made fun of and just things like that. And just being able to just be free from that and just completely living sold out to Christ, it's really been so freeing. It still comes back every now and then. I have those doubts, if I post something or this channel, maybe I feel insecure or something, but God always reminds me who I am in Christ, and it doesn't matter what other people say about me because it doesn't change who I am.
Yes, queen. I think for me, I definitely fall under that category as well. I used to really be concerned with things that I would post, or what I would wear to school, what people would think of me, so I kind of would just try to do my own thing, not really talk to anyone. If any of you know me in real life, you know that I'm a very shy person, very introverted. I don't really I'm not very outgoing at all. And one thing for me that stood out was in high school, I would always avoid doing speech class. That was something that I pushed off forever. I just did not want to do it. It scared me so much. So I got to college and I had to take the class. I'm oh my gosh, Lord, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can get through this. I don't even know these people. At least in high school I would have known these people, but at university I didn't really know the people in my class. But I kept praying and praying over that class, and I was able to get through it with an A, which is really awesome, and it was just one of my biggest achievements, honestly. How to get through drama with your close friends?
Drama is not great.
No.
I just want to say that if you seem to have drama with the same person, it's not different people, it's always the same girl or the same boy or whatever, I would pay attention to that, because the truth about drama is you're more in control of it than what you think you are. There are certain people that just love drama, and if they can't create it, then they will pass it on. They will stir the pot, as people say these days. Certain people just like it, and they like to have it. And I'm not saying that all drama is easy to avoid, or it's just something that you can just blow it off. Sometimes it does happen. And I would just encourage you to pray for them. You don't have to be like obsessed with a situation that it's all you think about. Like, take a step back from it, take a step back from that person for a while maybe, and just try to get a better perspective on it.
For me, I would say that it's really important to focus on being the kind of friend that you need in your life, because they may be going through something that you don't know about, or and just kind of like need that kind of friend in their life.
Consider that, because if they are being hurtful and hateful, that's coming from their heart, which means that that's what their heart is full of, and it's very possible that they are receiving the same kind of hateful attitude or hateful words, and so though it's important to stand up for yourself and, you know, remove yourself from situations. Don't be afraid to show love, to show grace, to show mercy, because God continually shows that to us. He's always patient with us, and we should be able to reflect those character qualities in our friendships. That's an amazing way to be a light for God.
And I just want to say that, like, friendship should never be about competition or like, how can I one-up this person? It should be about celebrating the other person in every way possible, because that's just gonna like create the best friendship. If you're both celebrating each other, then you can't really have a bad friendship. And if you're comparing yourselves to one another or competing with one another about something, then that's just going to cause problems from the very beginning.
That's not friendship.
So
yeah,
I would
not what it's about.
just encourage you to celebrate one another and your accomplishments. What is your favorite article of clothing to wear? Well, for me, in the summertime, as you can see, I love kimonos. I really love dresses as well. In the wintertime, I love a cardigan.
I think I love baggy clothes, like especially tops. Like, I love hoodies and long sweaters and like cardigans and stuff like this. And it's just comfortable and it looks cool and it's definitely my style. We're gonna do one more question.
What's your opinion on dating in high school?
I'll start. I don't know. I'm not technically opposed to it because there's a lot of different factors that would play into this. You know, where you go to school, who the people are, because there is like Christian schools where it's all Christians together, and that's cool, you know. But I think it's a big, like, people hear that. If you're a Christian, you hear that, and it's like, no, just wait, because of people are immature and they're just not ready yet. I think that if you consider how many high school relationships there are, this percentage of them actually result in marriage or successful relationships, and so I think that it's just important to guard your heart. And also, high school is supposed to be a fun time. You're only going to be in high school for so long, so you shouldn't be burdened by a stressful or dramatic relationship, or always trying to have a boyfriend or have a girlfriend and worried about who you're going to go to prom with. Like, it's a major distraction, and it seems really important right now, but I would hate for anyone to look back and wonder why in the world they were so obsessed with being in a relationship in high school, and there are so many other things that you could do and enjoy, like clubs and sports and all these other things.
Yeah, and I just want you to know that you may feel lonely right now, or like no one wants you, or you're never going to be married. But just know that, like, I was at that place one time in my life where I wasn't getting any, like, hardly any attention from boys, and I felt, like, pretty insecure about myself. And I've only been out of high school for, 3 years? Almost 3 years. And I am happily married, which is amazing and a huge blessing in my life. But I did, like, at one point in my life feel super insecure about myself, and my husband was actually my very first boyfriend, which is really, really cool.
Also, I want to say, I think when you want to date in high school, like, it's okay to not completely shut out that idea, you know, like, I'm not really planning on it, but things could change. It's good to keep an open mind about it, but you also should not be like, I'm getting a boyfriend or I'm getting a girlfriend this year. Like, it's gonna happen. It's really easy to only focus on your life right now and, like, only living one day at a time or a week at a time, and, like, this can cause you to settle by being with someone that they deserve you, or they're not mature enough to be in that relationship yet, and you can really easily lower your standards just because you don't want to wait and you don't want to be patient. But God constantly reminds us that we're waiting for a good thing, and we can be confident in that.
And if you are in a relationship right now and you're in high school, sometimes you do just need to like step back and look at your choices and what you've been doing and like think about how that's going to affect your future, because everything you're doing right now, whether you think so or not, is going to affect your marriage in the future. So just like set your standards high and keep them high, because that's super important.
She said about affecting your future, you can use that for good. It doesn't have to be something scary that you're like, oh my goodness, I hope I don't mess up because this is all playing into my future. Like, use that for good. Like, be encouraged to make good decisions and do good things and hang out with good people, and that will bless you now and for the rest of your life.
You want to be able to look at your future spouse and say, hey, I waited for you, and I'm so excited for what God has for us, and nothing in the past is going to get in the way of us because I waited for you, which is super cool.
Overall, what would you say? Are you opposed to people dating in high school?
I think that some good can come out of it, but I would just be very cautious about it, honestly, because, you know, obviously there are only a certain amount of options in your school or your area or whatever your situation is, and just keep your standards high and like wait for the person God has for you is what I would encourage you. Like, you may meet that person in high school. I did.
Not at her high school, but
not
she
at my
was
high
a
school,
senior.
but I was in high school when I met my husband. But I would just like take things very slow and pray about it and just be really cautious with your heart.
I also want to say, like, no one's making you get into a relationship. Like, you should do it because you want to. And some people, they think that dating just to date is like harmless and it's not a big deal, but I just don't. I think that you should be with someone because you see yourself marrying them. And if you say, I don't want to think about marriage right now, then you probably shouldn't be in a relationship yet. Like, you should be with someone because you say, yeah, I know what I want in a future spouse and I see that in you. That's when you know that you're mature enough for that and you're ready. And so just don't settle. Don't be completely against the idea, because it might happen. You might meet someone while you're still in high school like she did. But don't be upset if it doesn't happen, because we're so young.
And there's going to be like temptations, like, oh man, that boy's really cute, but I know for a fact right here and now that he's not going to help my relationship with the Lord. And if you know that, just don't let it happen. Just don't even like get the idea in your head, because down the road, like, you're gonna get very hurt if you let that happen, because you know in the back of your mind that you shouldn't be like pursuing that. Also, the last thing that I just want to say is, before you consider trying to pursue a boy or a girl, I would just encourage you to like really strengthen your relationship with the Lord, and then He will send you your person.
And you should also consider if this relationship is taking to your life or adding away, because every couple is going to have things that they need to get through together and stressful situations. But if this boyfriend or girlfriend is like constantly causing you to lose sleep or be stressed all the time or angry, like, God's not the author of confusion, and He will not send you to places. He will not put people in your life that cause stress, that make you mad or angry all the time. Like, be like looking out for those things. Like, is this really adding? Is this blessing my life, or is this taking away?
Yeah,
that's really important to consider.
We do want to do like a whole series on dating.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Because there's so many things you could talk about. But that's just kind of what we have for today, and we hope that this encouraged you guys and helped you guys out, and we hope that this advice can be used in your life. And yeah, I think that that's going to be the end of our video. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.